Hey folks, welcome to this live that I am recording from Post Every Week. The new book, folks, is out. I have one of the first copies of the physical book in my hands. I got 5 proofs of the new hardcover second edition, if you will, of posting on LinkedIn. The first book was called LinkedIn 365 and was focused on the hashtag capabilities within LinkedIn. Last year, it felt like this was a great topic to share with everybody, but it was about posting every day as opposed to posting every week. And the feedback that I received from hundreds of you was that posting every day is unlikely if you're not posting at least multiple times a week. And for many, as I looked at their LinkedIn activity, I realized they're not even posting maybe consistently once a month, or it's much more infrequent than once a week. So the idea was to reorganize it from monthly chapters that had a suggestion for every single day of the month to weekly. And my original intent was to provide some of my own statistics of how my posts did, what post was most valuable from a week-to-week perspective, and those stats are included in the new book, LinkedIn Post Every Week. So if you pick this up in the hardcover edition, which is now available from Amazon, this gives you some practical advice on what I did per week to come up with something that really did pretty well. And some weeks, because I post almost every single day, there was a clear winner out of the 7 or more posts that I posted or reposted from others. But with a newsletter that has almost 6,500 subscribers, so I'm sending to their email as well as engaging with people on LinkedIn, I have the ability to really engage with a lot of different people. About a fourth of my network on LinkedIn are Microsoft employees. And at one point, that was about a third of my network. And I have about 12,000 connections, but I have almost 18,000 followers. So out of those 18,000 followers, I don't necessarily have the statistics about where they work, but if I look at my first level connections, which would be people that are directly connected with me, so a mutual agreement that we are going to be part of each other's network on LinkedIn, that first level connection statistic that works at Microsoft is about a fourth of my current network. Now, if I choose Microsoft alumni, people that used to work at Microsoft as well as are currently working at Microsoft, that number probably goes up to more like the 1/3 that I had before. Because anybody that formerly worked at Microsoft and lists that on LinkedIn, LinkedIn can provide me that type of statistic. So this book is de-emphasizing the hashtag experiment or the hashtag suggestion that I had in the original book. The reason I had it for the original book is you used to be able to tell how many people were following a hashtag, and you could follow hashtags yourself. So if you used a very popular hashtag, you had an opportunity, just like if you tag somebody that has a lot of connections or followers, millions of people, you have a chance to gain their audience, because people that are following a brand, company page, a individual, they would potentially see your post because you tagged either that brand or that person in it. So say Microsoft Designer as an example. Microsoft Designer is a showcase page that I set up under the Microsoft Speakers Hub. And for probably a year and a half, we managed that showcase page. What I learned about showcase pages, because they're associated with a company page, my assumption was if the company page has 1,000 followers, you would have 1,000 followers of the showcase page. What I learned through setting up Microsoft Designer as a showcase page to the Microsoft Speakers Club at the time, now Microsoft Speakers Hub, is that that is not the case. A showcase page, just like another company page, starts with 0 followers, and you have to build your audience from 0. What happened with the Microsoft Designer page, showcase page, is Microsoft came to me and the other admins and said, hey, can we also be involved in this? You've already got the branding, you've already got the following, you already seem to be getting all sorts of attention. And so for probably 6 months or more, we managed that page along with Microsoft and the product group. And then at some point, Microsoft decided to take over that showcase page themselves. About 2 years ago, they launched an avatar campaign with almost like a Mad Lib style way of writing what you wanted Microsoft Designer to create for you. So you could ask for a particular design type, like I'm looking for an animation, or I'm looking for a Funko Pop inspired graphic of myself. And then you could describe yourself, what color hair you have, if you have hair, glasses, no glasses, all sorts of other things. And they built this so that you could actually share the prompt with others. So prompt engineering almost with all of the details provided, and then you just find and replace the specifics, like the color of your eyes, the color of your hair, the length of your hair, whether you're wearing a hat or some other type of accessories in the photo that's created, what type of photo. And all of that information then became something that you could share with others. So if I wanted to change something or have another parameter that I thought of, like the color of your shirt, as an example, you could say, I want to put that in as a variable and then share that with others so that they don't have to figure out how do I create a photorealistic photo, or how do I create a Funko Pop with my information. You had all the, I'll call it framework of the prompt there, and then the users would just replace that information. That went viral, and now the Microsoft Designer page is still associated as a showcase page with the Microsoft Speakers Hub, but it's far surpassed the number of followers that we have at the Microsoft Speakers Hub. We still have thousands of people on the Microsoft Speakers Hub, but that is an example of a page getting much more attention than maybe a parent page, if you will. And it's still associated with the Microsoft Speakers Hub, so you can look that up and confirm that we started that page. You can even scroll back, because they don't post every day or even every week. You can scroll back and see Teresa B. Cyrus was one of the people that was posting on behalf of the Microsoft Designer page. I posted a lot of things. We tried to adhere to the Microsoft branding. So if they posted something on Twitter or on other social media like Instagram, sometimes I would verbatim take that post and any graphic associated with it and just repost it to LinkedIn. And sometimes we would come up with our own graphics using Microsoft Designer. So you can go back and see kind of the lineage or what happened previously. In a similar situation to that, I took my company page, which I am no longer actively using, and converted it to post every week, because I'm going to be actively promoting this new book in its physical form this time. I got a lot of feedback with people requesting a physical copy of the book, which surprised me because the whole book is about posting online. And then the other feedback I got was it doesn't make sense in a physical book to have really long URL links. So we went with QR codes that you can just scan with your phone. So I can take a phone, I can point it to that QR code in the book, and I can go to the most popular post every single week, or I can scan something that takes me to maybe a complex or a longer URL. If it's an easy URL to remember or address on the internet, probably not as important. But when they really get long, like some of these LinkedIn specific posts, it's not just linkedin.com, it's linkedin.com/ and a bunch of other information. The QR code just makes it much easier for you to scan, go right to the post that I'm talking about, and see some of the statistics that I took screenshots for in the book. The book weighs in at about 250 And let's take a look here in this version. 247 pages long. And it's got lots of graphics. It's got lots of graphs in it about the statistics that I had per week. Those are cumulative in many of the situations because that's a default. So it shows you kind of the hockey stick effect when a particular day had much more, what do you call them? Not reactions, much more impressions than a previous day. And that allows me to take a look at different things related to the book. Go ahead and look at my comments here. The comments that I get through Restream, which I'm using today, would be comments that show up on LinkedIn as read-only or YouTube as both interactive. And I believe I'm on both my YouTube profiles right now. And then I'm on the LinkedIn post every week page on LinkedIn. I'm going to go ahead and see if we can send or share a live here. See if we can get anybody else to join and interact here. So if I go find my post every week activity, see if I view as a member, if that comes up. And I'm live right now. There we go. There's the live stream. And then I think I can, let's see if I can change who I'm posting as. Discussing the new book. Okay, we'll post that. And I guess it would be helpful to probably share this with folks so that you realize what I'm doing here. So let's go ahead and share that window here. What I'm doing is going to my company page, taking the post every week live that we're on right now, and then I'm just setting that to post under my particular page so that people can find this a little more easily. And then in the same way, I could go to the repost and change the audience of the repost to, say, the Microsoft Speakers Hub. So you can see how I'm doing this. And I can say live right now on Restream. I'm sharing my Restream subscription with a number of MVPs. Post every week is out now on Amazon. And you can pick a cover today. Put in MVP Buzz. And then there's an AWS community builders, which I just joined. I think theirs is AWS community. They've got a different hashtag, and I'll learn more about that as I progress through their program. So post every week is my company page. I believe it's post-every-week. And it's a company page, not a LinkedIn profile. So you go to linkedin.com/company/post-every-week. And that's how you get to my company page. So the book has information about primarily my personal profile, or my professional profile, I guess is a better way of putting that. And then if I look at my post impressions, these are the statistics that I provide every single week of 2025. So the book was a compilation of my results, not daily in many of the graphs. On a couple graphs I show you daily, so I can see the spike was on Friday, March 6th of this year. So this is this week's last 7 days, March 1st through 7th. And then I can scroll down and I can see that my post yesterday about the fact that I have a speaker proposal in for the Grace Hopper celebration this fall with one of my colleagues at McDonald's that I worked with at Microsoft. So we agreed to speak at the Grace Hopper celebration in 2026, and we put in a speaker proposal. The speaker proposal is now available to vote on, and I have included in issue 181 of my weekly newsletter. I, for a long time, did not make a weekly post about, it was originally the LinkedIn profile showcase. So my original thought with my newsletter was every week I would showcase somebody else and their profile or profiles. And weekly felt like a reasonable amount of time to post and showcase somebody. So I've got about 3 years worth of posts on Post Every Week, showcasing other people's work. And issue 181 is all about the Grace Hopper celebration. It's also about the fact that I became a AWS community builder, and about SharePoint's 25th anniversary or 25th birthday party that we celebrated this past Monday. So if I think about all those different posts that I made this week, 1 week ago, I made a post about the LinkedIn AI and LinkedIn profile showcase. I added AI to the title because a lot of the posts are about AI. And then the third most popular post was a video post of my father speaking about his bookcase for Every Child project that he's been doing for years in DeKalb, Illinois. He got some experience with public speaking through Toastmasters International. Sharina and I got experience with Toastmasters International. And I had my father join the DeKalb Toastmasters Club while I was president. One of the things that you do as an officer in Toastmasters International is you have goals as a club. And one of those goals is growth, club growth. And so you're looking for new people to join the club. So as part of that goal, I went ahead and asked my father if he would join as a member. And I want to say I offered to pay his membership the first 6 months. I figured, the club growth can be a commitment to coming to the meetings, or can just be putting other people on their register. So I theoretically could have done other people that I know well, family, friends, whatever. But I started with my father. My father didn't just want to be listed as a member of Toastmasters. He got the magazine at the time. They mailed you the Toastmasters magazine monthly. But he showed up to a lot of meetings, and he came with me to some of the upper level meetings of Toastmasters. So you have a club that you belong to. Your club is in an area. The area is part of a division, and the division is multiple divisions are part of a district. And the district at the time was the Western Illinois suburbs, and there was a Chicago, Illinois district. About 5 or 6 years ago, they decided to split off the downtown Chicago district into its own specific district. And that district, I want to say, is 131, but 130 or 131. But they're going to combine back with District 30 in 2026, later 2026. The calendar year is not what Toastmasters uses. They use the same year definition as an organization that Microsoft uses. So the end of June is the end of Toastmasters year from a operating perspective. So I believe that might be when they're planning to merge back and just have District 30 for Chicago downtown, as well as greater Chicago, I guess, is a good way to think of it. And then the western suburbs in central Illinois, I believe, are part of different districts. So wherever you are within the United States or North America, whether you're in Canada or Central America, wherever you're located in the world, really, Africa, India, Europe, Asia, doesn't really matter. You can join Toastmasters International. It's an international organization. I believe they just published that they have more members outside of the United States now than inside the United States, which I thought was an interesting statistic. I believe I saw that publicly. If I didn't, you've just received some insider information here on my post every week, I guess, launch event. And the first of many launch events, because it's going to make sense to do this more than once. Let's see if I can get rid of my video here. Video sharing. How do I get rid of it? Is it clicking on here? There we go. It's been a while since I used Restream, and my mouse, for whatever reason, I've got a fancy Logitech wired trackball. This is one of my favorite mice or trackballs of all time. It's wired, so I don't have to worry about batteries or battery life or Bluetooth or any other types of connections. I've got a DOS keyboard, so a mechanical keyboard. I was just talking to somebody at work about how annoying these are if you're working in an office. So I don't drag this into the office. I use it at my home office. But the nice thing about the DOS keyboard is it has two USB ports right on the keyboard. So I have my mouse wired in to my keyboard, and then my keyboard wired into my Surface Studio. I have a Studio 2 Microsoft Surface, so a 28-inch Surface device. And that is my main computer at home. I have a ultra wide screen here as well. So the collaboration or my home setup is probably similar to what they do at our office with two regular widescreen monitors. The reason I went with an ultra wide specifically instead of two monitors was newer Macs, iMacs, and MacBooks with the ARM processors did not support multiple external monitors. And one challenge I have specifically as a trainer is that Microsoft PowerPoint on the Mac decided that it would be a great idea to have the presenter view full screen. And on PC, it's ideal to have the presenter view full screen, but you can actually window that presenter view, especially if you're on a big monitor or an external monitor or an ultra wide monitor, and then you can have other windows along with it. On a Mac, however, it's full screen, whether you want the presenter view to be full screen or not, or you have a lot of screen real estate on the non-shared screen that you're not presenting from. It's got your notes and a bunch of other tools, which are super useful. But one thing I noticed on the ultra wide was that I can just use the Mac shortcuts to switch between that presenter view and other windows that I might want to reference. So if I need to reference like the chat on a particular topic, I can get to that chat very easily. So looks like Jeremy Neal just posted his weekly poll for Social Saturday. Every Saturday, Jeremy Neal shares a poll on LinkedIn, and he looks for engagement on that poll. And the nice thing about this is if you're looking for people that are active on LinkedIn, it is a really good place to go to get some exposure, right? If you're looking for a job, if you're looking to grow your LinkedIn, you're trying to connect with other people. One nice thing about the way that Jeremy does this every single week is first he uses a poll. And a poll on LinkedIn gets a lot of attention from other people. So he uses a very effective marketing technique of a LinkedIn poll to say, are you interested in making connections with other professionals today? And then he lists out literally hundreds of different people that you can connect with that voted in his poll the previous Saturday. So every Saturday he does this, and he calls it with a hashtag Social Saturday. So what you used to be able to do was click on a hashtag and you get information about how many people were following the hashtag. So you knew, is it a popular hashtag or not? You would see all the posts that use the hashtag, which still works. So these are other people that are running Social Saturday lists or processes or procedures around what you should do on Social Saturday. Some of these others I have found bots or spam with. So the Social Saturday hashtag is still valid for anybody to use, and you can click on the hashtag when you do pound social no space Saturday and see other people that are using this hashtag, and you can decide, people should comment or they should connect with each other, or you're going to tag the people. And what Jeremy does every single week is on Saturday, typically in the morning, United States time frame or time zone. He's in Texas. He goes ahead and posts about Social Saturday, people looking for jobs, people looking to network, people to look for multiple people within their network can go out here and they can grow their network. So one thing that you can do is you can right click on the list, and then I can open, you'll notice that the tabs are going to start opening at the top of my browser here for several of these professionals, and then the link is going to turn purple because it's been used. And what this allows me to do very quickly and easily from a desktop version of LinkedIn, I can use the right click and open in another tab, and then I can use Control Tab to look at all of these people and their profiles. So I can see if I'm connected or if I'm following them. So I'm not following Simone, I believe. We'll listen to her. I just realized I think my computer is using my headset. Yep, it's using my headset mic. So the beginning of this might not have audio if I don't have it. So I'll clip the video so that it's just the part where I was wearing my headset. Let's hear that again. So it's Simone. And now I'm following Simone. I can see she works for UPS. She's in Atlanta, Georgia, and I can send her a connection request. So by sending Simone a connection request, nice to virtually meet you on Social Saturday with Jeremy L. Neal. I just completed my second book called Post Every Week, and it's sale as a hardcover for $27 on Amazon now. And then I can hit Control A, Control C, so that I don't have to type this every single time. So one way to grow your network is to go through the people that are showcased by Jeremy, and I can either do a follow on their profiles. Follow may show up as their default, or it may show up under the three dots. If follow shows up on the profile, connect probably shows up under the three dots. There is a way to control that behavior on your LinkedIn settings. So it looks like Michelle, I'm probably either following or she doesn't have follow set as an option. And so almost all of these people I am not connected with directly. yet. But the benefit is that Jeremy showcases people that are active on LinkedIn, that voted in his poll. And I believe another prerequisite is they didn't just vote in the poll, but that they introduced themselves in a comment the previous week. So the comment can be something about yourself. It can be your about. It can be what you're looking for. If you're looking for work, if you're looking just to grow your network on LinkedIn. And it's a perfect way to not only send invites to people to connect or to follow them, but also to know that those are people that are active on LinkedIn. I used to participate in something called Support Saturdays, and I have stopped doing that because the Support Saturday, I think it's singular, movement was started in India during the pandemic. And what I found from that, if we go to, I think it's a company page for Support Saturday. Maybe it is plural. Let's take a look and see if I can find it. It is plural. So it's Support Saturdays. And it's the idea of mentoring people and helping them find positions. But what I found out of the Support Saturdays community was many of the people that were looking for work were doing nothing more than posting their resume, tagging Support Saturdays, and looking for other professionals to share, reshare, or comment on their posts. And they weren't actively engaging or using LinkedIn. So you would find a post about somebody using the Support Saturdays hashtag, they would post their resume, and then they'd sit back and wait. They wouldn't engage. They wouldn't comment back when others commented on their post. They wouldn't thank people for reposting their resume. And I just felt like I was doing a lot of work and not receiving a lot of benefit from that work that I was doing in sharing other people's resumes or the fact that they were looking for a particular work or in a particular location. So this started in India, and interestingly enough, the hashtag India, the word India or the country India, is the largest hashtag on LinkedIn. And I learned this from a connection in Chicago, Illinois that I haven't met in person. But you can see issue 10 of my AI and LinkedIn profile showcase was about my involvement in Support Saturdays, the hashtag. The hashtag India has over 65, the last time I saw the statistic, 65 million followers. So by using the hashtag India, I potentially get the attention of 65 million LinkedIn users or members. So these are the kinds of things that I learned about LinkedIn years ago. This article is 4 years old at this point. And the nice thing about the articles, for me, even though I post every single day, so I have over 365 posts in a year, and to go back to a particular post, I have to go and comb through and scroll and scroll and scroll to get back to a particular post, unless it has a hashtag or a particular topic. So if it's something like Support Saturdays that I haven't written about in several years, it's easy enough for me to find that particular post just by searching for the hashtag Support Saturdays. And if a lot of results come up, I can even say I'm looking for this particular word, phrase, hashtag, and I can put in who it's from. So if a ton of results come up and I know I posted it, I can actually say I'm looking for a post that I did on Support Saturdays, and I'm looking for those results. And if it's not a post, if it's something else like a person with the particular last name or first name, a group, an event, I can search for these different types of things with LinkedIn. So one of the things that I have learned about LinkedIn is the power of the hashtags, and they're still used, but they're not used in the way that they once were. So we'll go ahead and stop sharing our screen here. And we'll just go back to sharing some LinkedIn tricks and tips, that many of which I share within Post Every Week. I share weekly what I posted and the top 3 most popular posts. And then I give you a QR code link to the most popular post that I had for a particular week in 2025. And then I make some commentary or give you some statistics around it. When you go to that particular post, not only do you see how many people engaged with that post, how many people gave it a reaction. They can give a like by just either double clicking on the post on their phone or a mobile device. They can hover and hold on that like button to do things like celebrate the post or support the post. There is a funny emoji now. So if you write something that's humorous, whether it's your joke or somebody else's joke or a graphic, if somebody finds that photo or graphic funny, or that video that you share on LinkedIn, they can give it a funny reaction now. And there's about 6 reactions by default that you can use on LinkedIn. And then besides a reaction, you can also do what I call a reply. I like the 3 R's in what you can do with a LinkedIn post from somebody else. So you can comment, which I call reply. If you found it funny, why not mention to the person why you found it funny? Maybe tell them that you're going to connect with them. If they're already in your network, you can comment or reply. So you react first. You can reply to somebody, make a comment. And then the third thing you can do on LinkedIn now, by default, to other people's posts, mine, company pages, other people in your connections, other people that use a particular company or hashtag or something you search for, and you discover this really cool post, is you can repost. And you can do that in 2 ways now. So let's share my screen again and take a look at that real quick. My friend Ayaka lived in Chicago for years. I met her through another mutual friend named Bill Coulterman. She just got her Johns Hopkins University certificate program in agentic AI. And I know somebody else that went to Johns Hopkins University. And when I go to repost, I have 2 choices on LinkedIn. My first choice is to repost with my thoughts. This used to be the default. And what I always wondered about that is, what does Ayaka see when I repost her post with my thoughts? And so the first thing that I did, without knowing, years ago, probably 6, 7, 8 years ago, was I posted a repost with my comments to say, what happens when I repost somebody else's post? And I asked my network, does anybody know what happens with this? And I don't remember if anybody in my network made comments on that post. I probably would have a hard time finding that particular original post. But what I did next was I asked my son, who was probably in high school or college at the time, I said, Sam, can you set up a LinkedIn profile for me? And it doesn't have to have a lot of stuff in it. I just need you to have a LinkedIn profile. I think it was before he was requested to set one up in college. And he set up a profile and he put in wherever he was working at the time. It was probably Jewel as a deli employee. So he worked at the deli at our local Jewel Osco in Chicagoland. And so he listed where he worked and, some basics, put up a picture. And then I had him post something, and it was something simple, maybe like about, his job, or I don't even remember what the post was. I'd have to go look at his profile. And then I reposted what my son posted. And my son at the time either had 1 or 2 connections, maybe me and his mother, or me and some people that he knew from high school and college, maybe other family members. I don't remember how many people he has as connections on LinkedIn, but he had very, very minimal connections. So the chances of his post being seen were very low because he didn't have a lot of people in his network. Unless his post had something like the company that he worked for or something that was more popular or a hashtag or hashtags, the chances of his post being seen were very, very low on LinkedIn. But when I reposted it, because I had a lot more followers and I have a lot more reach, my repost could get a lot more attention for my son or for somebody else on LinkedIn. So Ayaka, for instance, may have thousands of followers. She probably does, and thousands of connections. But my thousands of followers and connections, the other thing I found surprising is even though Ayaka and I run in the same circles, we both worked or work for Microsoft. We are both Microsoft certified trainers, and we're both very involved in the community. Ayaka has a lot of posts and connections that are in Japan. I have a few connections and posts about, or I don't think I have any in Japanese unless I've done the translation, because I don't speak Japanese. I don't write in Japanese, but LinkedIn and other tools make it easy for me to see Ayaka's posts that are in Japanese. And if she doesn't do the translation, I can just click a translate button and read that post in English. That has made my LinkedIn use multilingual, even for languages I don't speak, like Dutch, like Japanese, like Spanish. I know enough Spanish to be dangerous. I can click on translate and I can actually interact with somebody reading their post in my native language. So imagine how much this allows you to network with other people that you don't even speak the same language potentially, or they speak your language and you don't speak theirs, or you speak both maybe English and their language. There are plenty of people that are multilingual like Ayaka, but what I realized was if you repost with a comment, the original author does not see the activity that your repost with comment got. So Sam may have, let's say, 10 views of his post. Let's actually just go find my son's profile for interest here. So my son has a 3-letter first name just like I do. I'm Dan Ray. My son is Sam Ray. And my son is no longer working at Hawaiian Brothers. So I either have to ask him to update his profile or I need to get his permission to update his profile. He is now living in a different state than Illinois, and his contact info could be way out of date. But he only has 27 followers, and his activity is very, very minimal. There's the repost information that I posted under Sam's profile. Before that, I posted a pre-live that I did with Sam's account. And then there's the question 6 years ago. What happens when someone reshares your post? And I posted that as Sam, and I used the hashtag LinkedIn. There was only one comment. The one comment was probably me, and it was. And the 2 reposts were me and then me with a actual comment. And this was my test to see what happens when you repost a post. And what I discovered was what I just shared with you. Sam's post may have a couple reactions and may have a couple comments and might have statistics about how many people viewed it. However, what would happen if I reposted with a comment, and I go to my post here. Oops, I think I can go to my post by let's just repost it again. Repost behavior on LinkedIn. So there's the hashtag for post every week. I was originally going to call the book Post Every Day. I decided it was, again, a better approach to call it post every week. Now that post lives within my LinkedIn. And so Sam's profile can tell that I reposted it, but I get all the statistics. I see how many people viewed it. I see how many people commented on it. Sam can see that it was reposted, and he can go to my profile, which counts as another impression, but Sam can't see those stats. So if this post goes viral because it's very visual and maybe it's of interest to a lot of people to understand this topic, I just posted this and tagged my post every week company page. Maybe that generates some interest in this 3-year-old post. And I can tell it's 3 years old right there at the top. Now, what I could do is provide Sam, my son, information about how this post did. My son is in the culinary arts. So when he does see the value in social media or maybe growing his own personal brand as a really, really talented chef, what I would call a chef, I don't know if he considers himself a full chef yet or not. He's definitely into culinary arts. He's definitely into creating his own dishes and works in fine dining. When he sees the benefit of that, or his employer sees the benefit of that, I just saw a post that he is in for that, I believe it's that particular restaurant on Instagram. So he definitely is participating as an employee, as a fine dining employee, and has done so when he was at Hawaiian Brothers too. He made some of their Instagram posts. I think he even created a couple of the posts himself. And so doing so could grow his brand, his recognition, and potentially lead to either other people coming to that restaurant to try his food, could lead to other jobs, which isn't in the best interest of the restaurant that he's working at, but is in the best interest of my son, right? And that's part of what I learned was the fact that you're growing your own personal professional brand while you are working for somebody else, whether you are also maybe increasing awareness or sharing things that your employer posts, not only benefits your current employer, but benefits you whether you stay with that current employer or not. So one thing that we will emphasize both in the Post Every Week book that is available now, but also in the upcoming Influencer Summit, which we will be doing virtually in the spring of 2026, is how do you take your personal brand, your interests, your career, and make it your own? The best time to look for a job is while you have a job. And many of my fellow techies, whether they worked for Microsoft, LinkedIn, which is part of Microsoft, Amazon, which I have a community award from that I just earned this week, Facebook or Meta, Google, Salesforce, wherever you work or worked, there is a chance that at some point in your career, you will experience either a reduction in force, a RIF, where your position is eliminated. You may find yourself fired or removed from the company, either of your own free will or from, in many states, there's voluntary employment. So a company can dismiss you either with or without proper documentation. Positions can be eliminated. That's probably the easiest way that a company can just say, hey, as of a certain date or as of today, you're no longer employed. Your position is no longer needed or part of our company. And several thousand people that I know have been affected by that. So that is one reason that I wrote the Post Every Week book this year, was for the literally thousands of people that I know in tech that are extremely talented. that are extremely valuable to a company, but have found themselves not of their own decision or finding the next job in their career, but in reductions in force, reductions in positions, um, whatever the situation may be. They have found themselves looking for work and not having the luxury of a job and a paycheck to go along with that. Well, one thing that is in your control if you find yourself in that situation is to start posting every week. Get the attention of people in your network. There are a number of ways you can do this on LinkedIn, and my book will share some of the things that I have found effective, and I am 100% willing to help others with that. One other thing that you can do on LinkedIn, besides look at all these people's profiles, and I can close them all by clicking on the X. The nice thing is the X stays kind of in the same area, so you can quickly close pages that you've opened. Is I can also, under messaging, I can see that I have 2 messages that are new, and I can see I have 6 notifications. Under messaging, I can either message a particular person on this list, like Jada or Simone or Dwayne, or I can send a message to multiple people. Messages, however, have to either be to people I'm connected with, or I have to use what they call a in-mail credit. So if I open Tony's profile, for instance, and I can see that we are second level connections, I can follow Tony, and I don't have to have Tony do anything. I'm now following Tony's activity on LinkedIn. But if I go to connect, one thing I can do with Premium is I have unlimited notes that I can send to somebody. If I don't have a premium subscription to LinkedIn, I have something called in-mail credits. And I believe you get 45 in-mail credits per month. And that allows you to send the person a connection request, even though they're not part of your network. The other thing I can see is that 12, and it looks like 14 people I have in common with Tony. That's why he's a second level connection and not a third level connection. A third level connection means we have nobody in common. And the nice thing about Jeremy's list every single week is there's tons of people on here that I'm already following, that I'm already connected with. And then there's just as many people that I have to learn from because we have absolutely nobody in common. So if I go back here I already opened Vincent's profile. I think that's how he pronounces it. So we'll go back to my list. We'll open Raul. We'll open Roy. I'm just right clicking and then I'm clicking on open link in new window. Danielle, Anderson, Jose, Nadia, Melissa. Okay, so I have about 10 of these open. I'm going to hit Control Tab. And I'm going to look at Tony. We're second level. I'm going to look at Jovita. We have nobody in common. So this is somebody that's net new to me. She has 216 connections, but I know that she is at least active in the poll that Jeremy runs every week, and she has some interest in growing her LinkedIn profile. So I can click follow, and then I can go to Vincenti. He doesn't have the, Vincent. He doesn't have the pronunciation on his profile. That is an option that you have if you're on the mobile app for LinkedIn. I can see Raul has the link for listening to how he pronounces probably his last name, I would guess. Roy V, I can see that we are second level connections. I can see who we have in common. We have about 35 people in common. And I can see the follow button. So it's very easy for me to follow Roy. And Roy probably has his last name private unless you're connected to him. So Many people will choose privacy settings like maybe I can't see their profile picture until we're connected. Maybe I can't see their last name, their full last name. That makes it sometimes harder to find somebody on LinkedIn, right? I can see that it's Roy V, but I have no idea what his last name is unless he uses his last name somewhere on his profile, like if he shares his resume or if he has a recommendation and somebody uses his last name. So there's lots of different ways that I can grow on LinkedIn. Now, the other thing that I can do with these different profiles, besides hitting Control Tab and either learning where they're from, what they do, follow them, or connect with them. And we already copied something, so I can just edit what I had already copied and send Danielle a note to connect. But I can go down and I can see what Danielle has shared. So I can get an idea of what she's shared, what she's pinned, where she works, where she's worked before her current job. She was an operations manager at Google. She worked at AT&T. She's currently vice president implementation at a Chicago company. I can click on the company to learn more about it. There's all sorts of things I can do to have more in common with this person that I found on Jeremy's Social Saturday poll and then post where he tags everybody that is participating from the previous week. So to actually participate, I vote in the poll. I then react to the poll. I don't think this is required. And we can see those reactions if I hover here. I can like, celebrate, support, love, find it insightful. The least number of my reactions are insightful, but I might find a post funny. I might find it supportive. I might decide to celebrate the post. And then he asks us in the post to introduce yourself. I have completed my second book about LinkedIn called an @ post every week. That tags my company page so people can find information about me, about the book. And I have recently applied to be a speaker this year's Grace Hopper celebration. I would love to connect with other professionals in technology, or in general. And then I can comment. So the comment helps Jeremy get exposure. The repost helps him get exposure. So if I repost with or without thoughts, repost instantly bring Jeremy L's post to others' feeds. And this keeps the statistics. This is what was added to the repost functionality. That keeps the statistics with Jeremy, not with me. So if you're looking to grow your online presence, repost with thoughts, and then you see the impressions, you see the comments, you see the reactions. If I repost, I just help amplify Jeremy's message in place, and Jeremy sees those additional comments and activity. So with repost, probably a year and a half ago, maybe longer, they added these two options. And I think it's probably 3 years old because I just was reminded I posted about it under my son's profile. So the nice thing about having other people that are in your network is you can test a lot of these things that you can't see from just your own profile. Like, what's the difference between post and repost? What's the difference between commenting and reposting something with a thought? And the other thing that Microsoft has, or LinkedIn has done recently, is they now allow you to see how your comments are doing. So I also had like a subtitle to the book called Post Every Week, Comment Every Day. And the reason for that is if I look at a particular comment that I made, this is to Frank's post, one thing I will see under the post is how many impressions the post received. So 12 is not a large number, but if this goes viral, if this is from a very popular person, I have a chance that multiple people see this. Multiple people see my comment. Multiple people see the post from Frank. And multiple people have an opportunity to maybe join us on Frank's Azure and AI show. And you can see that I tagged in my comment both the Azure and AI show page, which Frank created. And I can see how many followers are following the page. It's got about 104 followers. I can see the posts that Frank has made 4 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So he's posting about every week or so, 1 month ago. 5 months ago. So I can see the activity that Frank has on the Azure and AI show. And then if you create your own company page, you can go to those particular pages and you can see how many followers you have. Post Every Week has 542 followers. I can create posts, I can review posts, I can boost posts. I can even try a premium page for my company page. So you have premium pages that are available to you as a profile, and you have premium pages that are available to company pages that you are part of or that you create yourself. So these are the types of things that I share in Post Every Week. And the hardback is available today from Amazon. And the hardback for a limited time gets you entry into that first influencer summit that we're going to do online. We're going to do digitally. There's going to be a book tour this year because I have a book I'm really proud of to actually share with people. There is going to be an influencer summit or multiple influencer summits in person. We'll do those in coordination with the book tour. So we'll bring the book around to those events. We'll bring all sorts of collaboration opportunities to you. We'll bring you information about different tech jobs and tech opportunities. And we'll give you advice, whether you're starting your career, whether you're still a student, whether you're mid-career. And there's going to be all sorts of benefits of getting involved in this. At this point, I'm doing this as a community effort / side business, right? Some aspects like the book, you purchase the book, that helps me pay bills and continue to collaborate, continue to push information into the community. Getting involved in the Influencer Summit allows me to think about something that maybe I don't have to have people pay for, or maybe if you purchase the book, that is your entry. So I could have a ticket option for people that don't have the book, and I could have a free option for people that have already paid the book, or a discounted version, if you will, of the ticket or the the Influencer Summit. And online would be an option, and in person would be an option as well. So these are thoughts that I had for making some of my community work to be more than just giving back 100%. There could be a little offset of the time, the energy, and the I guess blood, sweat, and tears that I put into this type of work. So I'm spending my Saturday right now promoting the book and promoting the influencer summit that we'll be doing. And this comes at a cost, right? The cost is I am busy on a Saturday and I'm busy doing, techie type things. I'm talking about a book I wrote. I'm sharing my insights, and I'm doing so for, it looks like nobody, 2 people live. So 2 people are tuned in, and one of those people may be me because I think I have this open on a device. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If those questions are live, I will see them. If those questions are later, I will see them later. And, oh, interesting. I just learned from a AWS community builder that he is a MCT, but he has MVP in his LinkedIn profile. So I'm not sure if he's a C# MVP or if he's just referring to himself as the most valuable professional, or maybe not professional, most valuable player in, at work or something else. I'll need to talk to him about that. But the other person, awesome, cool. Yeah, so Jeremy, Neil and I just had a conversation today on LinkedIn, which is great. And then I'm going to look at my notifications really quick here as well. Jeremy is one of those people that I have been I can't tell you how impressed I've been with him. He's a recruiter, one. So he's a recruiter with over 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. 30,000 connections is your limit. So if you're not aware of that and you're getting anywhere near 30,000 people, it's time to think about very deliberately who you connect with versus who you follow. On LinkedIn, you can have millions of followers and millions of people can follow you. There's no limits. So if you look at a celebrity or anybody that's super popular on LinkedIn, you're going to see how many followers they have, and it might be in the hundreds of thousands, it might be in the millions. But even if you're really popular, I don't know if LinkedIn has any options to remove this limitation. You can only have 30,000 connections that you're directly connected to. So if you look at somebody like a CEO of a company, they might have millions of followers, but my understanding is they're capped at 30,000 connections. So if you get to somebody maybe early in their LinkedIn journey and you add them as a connection, you are one of those 30,000 people that they are directly connected with. And so one of the really cool things about that is it allows you to direct message that person, maybe to see more of their contact information. So you might be able to see when their birthday is or other personal details of that person. And then LinkedIn has made it easier for you to wish people happy birthday on the platform, to congratulate them when they have job anniversaries or when they start a new job. And all of these things are things that I either allude to in Post Every Week or I give you advice on in Post Every Week. My new book, which I have a virtual background of the book cover and back cover. And I have one of my physical hardcover, what do you call these? Review versions. They're not for resale. I ordered a few of these to give out to people that have helped me with the book or that have been involved with the book. So with that, folks, we've been going for, does Restream tell me? Restream tells me we've been going for 1 hour and 10 minutes. I believe the beginning of this is going to be silent because I wasn't wearing my headset. So I'll have to trim the video to make it a little shorter and tighter. And then the next time I go live, I'll be sure to put on the headset, which is probably at 1 p.m. my time, which is when Frank has the Azure and AI show. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch you later.